Is this the Antichrist? No, it's not. Stop saying the Pope is the Antichrist, people. That does beg the question, who is the Antichrist? Let's look at scripture to find out. Did you know the only books of the Bible to ever even mention the word Antichrist is 1st and 2nd John? Which is kind of weird because the Antichrist is thrown around a lot when it comes to Revelation, even though it never mentions the Antichrist at all. But anyways, let's read from 1 John 2:18. It says, "Children, it is the last hour, and just as you heard that Antichrist is coming, even now many Antichrists have appeared. From this we know it is the last hour." So as we can kind of see here, the Antichrist isn't one particular person because there's many Antichrists. And these Antichrists would appear in the last hour. But if we're currently in the last hour, this has got to be the longest hour in the history of time. Maybe because it's already over. Because all throughout scripture, you read about the last days. After all, John 6 mentions the last days 4 different times in regards to when the resurrection would happen. But by the time we get to 1 John, we're no longer in the last days, we're in the last hour. It's only been a few years since John was written and 1 John. So how do we change from the last day to the last hour so quickly? What's interesting is Mark 13:6 says the false Christs would arise in the end times, and some say the man of lawlessness. They associate that with the Antichrist as well. But if there were already Antichrists at this time, wouldn't that mean that it's the last days? And John is saying it's not even the last days, it's the last hour. Let me show you what the definition of Antichrist is. 1 John 2:22 says, "Who is the liar but the one who denies that Jesus is the Christ? This is the Antichrist, the one who denies the Father and the Son." If you deny Jesus, you deny God, and that makes you an Antichrist. And to reiterate the point, 1 John 4:2-3 says, "By this you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God." And then it says every spirit that does not confess Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist. I mean, it's a really simple definition if we really think about it. Antichrist literally means someone that is anti or against Christ. Someone that denies the deity of Jesus. If they say Jesus is not God, then they are an Antichrist at that moment. And who were the biggest people that denied that Jesus was God? Well, it was the religious leaders. They were the biggest antichrists of the first century. I hope you found this very short video about the Antichrist challenging and maybe even helpful. If anything, I hope this has at least made you think more about the topic of the Antichrist. And if you're interested in more content like this, make sure to follow for more. God bless. Oh, and Christ is King and Jesus is Lord.